She texted him that they needed to talk about Elle. She was aware that it was our wedding night beforehand. He asked what was wrong, and she responded that Elle got in trouble for hitting someone at daycare and they needed to talk about it. He had slowly been standing up for himself in the months prior, now understanding his rights, and saw this for what it was. Her attempt to cause drama in his new relationship and or distract his attention to being solely on her. He asked T what he could do from 3,000 miles away. And she went off about how he was neglecting Elle because he wouldn't punish Elle from across the country. Hubby said, "Look, T, tonight is my wedding night. This is not an emergency, and this is something that you should be able to handle as his mother. Please don't call me unless it's an emergency involving Elle for the rest of the evening." We ignored the rest of the text she sent that evening, all 67 of them, only checking what they said to make sure it wasn't an emergency involving Elle. The messages stopped around 1 a.m. The next day, she demanded he sign away his rights. Obviously, he refused. Then she tried to refuse his court order visitation, but she confessed later that her lawyer told her the trouble she would get into, and she backtracked. Here comes the craziest part if you're still here. 2 weeks after we eloped, my dad sent us on a 5-day cruise to the Bahamas to reward us for not costing him a more expensive wedding. LOL. Okay, that's cute. And at 5 a.m. on the morning we returned and docked in Florida and got cell service back, my husband's phone blew up as we hadn't had cell service in the Bahamas. But it wasn't just T, it was also my mother-in-law, T's doctor, and a CPS caseworker. Yep, Child Protective Services. T had said that she had been having some gastro problems in the months prior and had surgery, but she was supposed to have stopped taking the pain medications 3 weeks prior. So when she asked the doctor for more, the doctor drug tested her and she had high levels of a few unprescribed painkillers, as well as meth, coke, and other things in her system. Since T had Elle at the appointment, the doctor didn't want to let her drive away. But T flipped out on the doctor and her staff and left, and the doctor called the police and CPS. CPS immediately picked Elle up from daycare because, and here's the kicker, they were already looking at her because of the night we got married. T had locked herself and Elle in the bathroom, and T overdosed herself on sleeping pills, and her then boyfriend had to kick in the bathroom door and call 911, and since Elle was in the room with her, CPS was considering removal. We were shocked as we knew nothing about this. On our 5-hour drive back to South Carolina, we stopped to do a telephonic team decision meeting with CPS and told her one of two things could happen. Number one, both her and my husband needed to sign temporary custody to CPS, and Elle would stay in CPS custody until hubby could fly to Arizona, where she had just moved to get Elle and bring him back to South Carolina. Or two, if she refused to sign, CPS does a permanent removal and neither of them would have custody. With option one, she could return to court after parenting classes and rehab and possibly regain custody. With option two, she could not. She chose option two because she didn't want hubby to have his son. When I tell you that you could hear in the voices of the CPS workers how shocked they were, I kid you not. In all honesty, we all kind of were, with the exception of my husband. When he pointed out how selfish it was to hurt Elle by putting him in permanent foster care because she would rather hurt his father, she finally relented. Not because she cared about Elle, but because she didn't want to look like she was the bad guy to CPS. She openly said this in the meeting. My husband got some assistance from the Marine Corps and immediately got a ticket and flew out to Arizona to pick up his son. And she tried to demand he postpone his flight back with Elle because she had checked herself into the ER to get pain meds. Yes, she told him this verbatim. And this is when my hubby snapped. 6 years of constant emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse had taken its toll. Now, I preface this by saying my husband is one of the most soft-spoken, calm, and understanding people I have ever met in my life. It's one of the things that attracted me to him in the first place. He's very quiet and he's not very quick to anger, but he is very quick to trying to understand someone else's point of view. So when he flipped out on her, it was a shock to me because that's just not who he is. And oh, did he go off. He said to her, "Are you serious right now? Are you fucking serious, T? We wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for you. Do you understand what is going on? Our son is in foster care because of you. Because of you. The state of Arizona doesn't even want to let you be alone with him. I had to lose the $700 I paid for the ticket for me to come get him for my normal visitation and borrow money to come get him today. And you have the actual audacity to ask me to stay longer because you would rather get drugs than see your son. Have you lost your fucking mind? Have you lost your fucking mind? Because I will help you find it. I cannot believe how selfish you are. You still don't care about him. All you care about is yourself and what you want. If you can't make it here by 1:30 p.m., you're not going to see him before I leave, and that's final. If you don't see him, that's on you. But don't sit here and pretend that you care when you would rather get drugs than see your son and you knew I was coming today. No, I will not.